This is Roxanne checking in. I've done a few videos about what it's like to get diagnosed with MS and how to work through everything. And it was crazy because the work I used to do was to help people who are seniors or disabled people. And I have to tell you, it messed up my mind for a long time because I wanted to be the helper, not the helpee. But I am always so grateful that I had these experiences with these amazing people in this building because there was so much to learn. I shared a video a little bit ago about a woman that I'd met, and she really taught me a major life lesson. But I find that it's always happening, like these moments where I have a choice or a way to think of certain things, but I tend to pull back or pull from those experiences, and I'm able to see things a little more clear. Anyways, the reason I do these videos, it's cathartic or therapeutic for me, but I'd like to be of service to people because of what I used to do and the people I used to help. And there's a story that I've been waiting to share, and it's about a gentleman named David. And David suffered a stroke, and the thing was half of his body stopped working, and he had aphasia, which means the message in the brain doesn't make it to the mouth the same way you imagine it would. So he would say something crazy instead of what he was intending. But he was probably the most amazing, grateful man I met in my life. And I always have that to pull from. But what happened with David, there was a situation where he would go to the front desk of the office that I worked at, and they would constantly not pay attention to what he was saying. They weren't necessarily understanding what he was trying to throw at them because of this aphasia, but I used to get so frustrated because they would send him back to me, which I didn't mind helping him because I loved him, but it made me mad. The front desk saw them 3 times more than I did. They had 3 more times an opportunity to be of assistance to him. And I explained to them, I said, the reason you can't pick up his language, because he had words that he didn't say right, never made sense, but there were words that meant other words for him. He had a language. So I'd explain that to the front desk. I'd say, hey man, he has a language, and you see him 3 times more than I do, you should learn to speak it or hear it. And I said, the truth is, he's not the problem. You're the problem. And you just have trouble listening because he's speaking perfect for him to communicate. Anyways, there were all these moments with him, and he was so amazing. He was so grateful, and he was so happy, and just a joyful man. He'd always be like, if he was upset, he'd say, oh, it's a shame what happened to me. He would use that every time he was trying to express how irritated he was about life or whatever. But then he also would have these moments where he was grateful and happy, and he'd be like, I'm 100%. That was his response, like saying, I am okay. But it takes time and it takes listening to hear it. So I had these moments with him and with all of these people I worked with, and I think about how I'm grateful that I was able to learn it so I could be of service to him. But also, I had the most amazing life lesson. I would brag on him. He was everywhere. He was doing all kinds of cool stuff. The most amazing man you ever met. So happy, so gracious. And I started calling his sister about some service stuff, and she said, you know, you wouldn't believe it, but he wasn't that man. David was a stockbroker, had a lot of money, and had a lot of influence, and apparently he was kind of a horrible person. But to see the parallel situation, it just didn't make sense to me. But she said, no, you don't understand. He was an awful human being. And the stroke healed him. So you go, what? But overall, that's what MS was for me. I was a worrier and a stressor and so sick about everything. And the MS showed up. I was like, really, God? I wasn't freaking out already. You're going to throw this in the fire. But it was exactly what I needed. It was just the right amount of perspective. So I don't worry about that little crap anymore. And David isn't a tyrant anymore. And I believe in, God's blessing. I believe in these moments where you can really pay attention to how he moves or how God moves. And God made him a real person, made him a happy person, made him a joyful person, a grateful person. He took a whole lot away. He had half of his body not working. He couldn't talk right. But he was happy, and he was joyful, and he was grateful. I'm happy, and I'm joyful, and I'm grateful. So I look at some of these people that worry about more insignificant things like their hair getting done or their eyelashes or their bills, and which is not insignificant, but to worry about it is like sickness all by itself. And I was one of those. But now I don't sweat the small stuff. So truth be told, I thank God every day for the lesson learned with me, but also the lessons I've learned through all of these people that allow me to be a support to people like me and people like them, and be the voice of a community that rarely gets heard and gets heard the way that they need to be. Because you hear them mumbling or whatever else and you kind of blow them off. But this is a moment where you can take time to totally engage and learn about their lives and them as a person. So like I said, they're not flawed. You're just not listening. So let's do this. Let's just try to brush off all the crap and know that we're going to try to be the best listeners we can. So I tell you every time I leave, I say, you got to thank God for your blessings and have the opportunities to bless other people, and just know when you're being blessed. So many times we're being blessed and nobody pays attention until something falls apart. So look at those little blessings and try to find love in those moments. And I guess that's it for today.